Are you tired of practicing along with a metronome? Are you tired of trying to make music along with a robotic clicking sound? Well, you're not alone. Countless drummers resist practicing to a metronome because it's so boring and monotonous. But the thing is, we have to work on our time. That rock solid time every great drummer possesses doesn't develop itself. So how can we work on our timing without a metronome? Let me offer some suggestions. Hey everybody, welcome to The Non-Glamorous Drummer. This is a channel that's all about giving you the non-glamorous tips and topics of the trade to teach you the drumming skills that really matter to help you become a better drummer. If you're new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, I really hope to earn your subscription. So the first suggestion, and this is the obvious one that many of you are probably already doing, you can play along with a lot of great recordings out there that were recorded to a click. And at that point, you're able to play along with music, not just a click, and work on your time. Probably about 99% of what is recorded these days, and especially what you hear on the radio, was recorded to a click. And the drum stuff and percussion stuff on there might have even been quantized, nailed into the grid so that it is perfect metronomic time. So you can practice along with that and know that you're basically practicing with a metronome. It's just a lot more fun and interesting. But let's say you need to customize what you're hearing because maybe you want to practice this groove at this tempo or this groove at that tempo, and you can't necessarily just find a recording that fits it. How can we make our own custom practice track that's cool to listen to and that is keeping solid time so that we can practice our time to music that we've created? Here's how you can do that. All that you'll really need are three things. Number one, a metronome, ironically, but we'll be taking out the metronome later. You'll need a metronome, you'll need an instrument of your choice, whether it's a percussion instrument, a guitar, a keyboard, really anything that isn't your drum set. And then third, you'll need a way to record these things. Basically, what we're gonna do is record our own musical loop of whatever instrument we choose, and that loop is gonna be recorded to a metronome. So we'll have that, and we'll pull out the metronome from that, and we'll have our loop that we can practice to, and we can play whatever groove we want to and know that it's keeping solid time for us and that we're working on our time. We'll talk a little more about this in a second. First, let me show you some examples. Here are three practice tracks I made that are totally different tempos, totally different feels. Also, there's no compositional logic behind these. I literally just sat down and started playing chords. So this is what I came up with, but either way, it's really fun to play along with these because they're not a song. They're something I came up with, something I can play whatever I want to. They're flexible, but they're keeping solid time. So check it out, and we'll talk a little more about them here in a second. The really cool thing about doing these is that you can practice different feels and different subdivisions and things with them. You could play a regular time groove, you could play a half-time groove or a double time groove. You could even get crazy and practice some metric modulation on top of this, but that's a topic for another video. As for creating these yourself, if you have a Mac with GarageBand, you've got everything you could possibly need for this because you can easily multi-track record. The advantage of being able to multi-track record this is that you can go back and then pull the metronome out and then just have that loop, and so you can do whatever you want to with it. Otherwise, it might be a little bit trickier. Though you could still do it, you could even record these things onto your phone, and maybe you've got a metronome playing through like a earbud into your ear, and you're playing some kind of percussion thing, and the audio from that's going into your phone. You can just make a loop that way. It doesn't have to be complicated. The idea here is just to create something that's a little bit musical and more interesting than just a metronome to play along with. So get creative. I bet you can come up with something cool. Tell me in the comments below what your experiences have been trying this out and what you're thinking along these lines. Today's video has been a super simple concept, but it's one that I believe can be very helpful, encouraging, and motivating to many drummers. Create your own practice tracks at your own tempos. Create a cool percussion groove to practice to. Create a catchy guitar loop to practice to. Just as a side note here, it's really interesting the parts and the ideas you might come up with practicing along to these, because inevitably what you play on the drums are going to be a reflection of what you're hearing in this loop. And so for all we know, you might start to inspire different things out of yourself that you didn't think were possible because you put this little piece of musical creativity into the loop, and it'll be cool what comes out in your playing as a result of that. And if you don't want to create a loop yourself, I'm sure there are a ton of cool loops out there online. Just do a Google search. You might be able to find some stuff on SoundCloud. But really, it's not hard to make them yourself. Do it. I think that's more rewarding that way. The point is, get creative. Practice time along to music, not just to a boring clicking sound. Hey, by the way, these practice tracks that I made that you heard here in the video, I'm going to be throwing those up on Patreon for my patrons. So those of you who support me on Patreon, you'll get to check these out, play along with them, tell me what you think, and use them to inspire your own ideas. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and subscribers, thanks for watching my videos and commenting and sharing and all the good stuff you guys do. If you haven't yet subscribed, I really hope you will. I hope to earn your subscription. I hope you'll join this community of all of us non-glamorous drummers working to get better at what we do. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you next week.